Hi everyone, set 5.5 just went live, and so today I'm going to be showing you the best comps that you can climb with on the first day, and the first week, and so on. I have 5 new comps that you can test out, and I'm also going to go over all the old comps, and it'll be 12 in total, and I'll also link an Imgur album with all of these in the description as well. So the first one up is Cannoneer Lucian. I like going for Cannoneer for a night. There is a bit of flexibility here. You can drop Tristana and Misfortune, to maybe put in 6 knights, or you can, for example, put in Rel for Ironclad, or you can take him out to put in 2 mystics. The only core units here are Senna and Lucian, and then you want Galio as well to give you 3 Sentinels, and then you play another knight. So it's only 2 knights and 2 Cannoneers, so that's mandatory for Lucian. In terms of items for Lucian, you want IE, Last Whisper, and Hand of Justice. IE and Last Whisper are mandatory because the vast majority of his damage is AD. So with Last Whisper, you want to shred that armor to make sure that we're not missing out on any damage. The Hand of Justice is there as well, so that he will do even more damage when he rolls damage, and he will actually do healing and sustain himself when he rolls healing. In terms of other items you can put on Lucian, there is BT and Deathblade. Those are the 2 only really ones that matter. The other items aren't really that good for him. Besides that, you just want to stack Galio with tank items so he becomes a super tank, especially once he drops this ability to get even more projection, and then he can actually do some decent damage as well. So the next one up is Misfortune carry. The core synergy here is for Forgotten, so we want to run Hecarim, Thresh, and Misfortune, and then we run either Vayne or Draven until we find that Viego. Besides that, we have Rel Nautilus fits very easily in here. Rel for 2 Cavalier, Nautilus for 2 Knights, and we also get 2 Ironclads by pairing into these 2. And since we're running Viego and we have an 8th spot, Diana fits really well in there to give us some more backline access. With this comp, you slow roll at level 7, so for example, you drop like Diana and Viego and you play like Vayne for 4 Forgottens, and then you slow roll with this. Obviously, Lucian is just a Cannoneer bot, so it can be Tristana or Senna as well. And then you slow roll until you hit MF 3-star. Once you do, you replace Vayne with Viego, and then you put in Diana, like so. In terms of items for Misfortune, you want Sojin, so she can keep casting your ultimate. And you want both IE and Jewel Gauntlet, because she is very mixed damage. She deals both a decent amount of AP and AD, which is why she also really likes the Forgotten trait. This way we make sure that her spell always crits and does a bunch of damage. And also with Cannoneer, we get great value out of the IE. And with her spell, we get great value out of the Jewel Gauntlet. In terms of other items you can run for MF, you can, for example, run both Rageblade, Hand of Justice, Giant Slayer. These can work on her. You want to try and stay away from items that strictly only give AD or AP, since she really likes both. So, like, for example, Deathblade is not going to be that good on her, and, like, Deathcap is not going to be that great either. Although you can, for example, drop Lucian and go 0 Cannoneers and just go full AP Misfortune by just going Jewel Gauntlet and Deathcap, for example, or even Archangels. And then you just go, for example, Frozen Heart on either Diana or Viego, throw your tank items on either Hecarim or Rel. If you 3-star your Hecarim, you throw your items on him as well. So the next one up is going to be Fiddlesticks carry. There are 2 ways to play this. I'll show you the first one here, which is the Abomination version. Items for Fiddlesticks are going to be Gunblade, Jewel Gauntlet, Deathcap. This way, he deals a ton of damage, and he'll actually heal back up to full, like after he pops from Revenant. Like here, he's only reviving to 30% health HP. But with Gunblade, it's going to go to 100%. So the core units here are the Abomination units with Brand, Callista, Nunu, and Fiddlesticks. And then we like putting in Ivern and Volibear as well for more Revenant units. Gwen is just overall a good unit that gives us the Mystic and also gives us Enaminate, which is good for Fiddlesticks to make sure he casts a spell. Now we can also throw in Velkoz here as a secondary carry. Although this can also be a Mystic or an Invoker, for example, or Renderer. Velkoz is just a relatively easy 2-star forecast to hit, as he's not very contested. And so you can very easily like throw some AP items on him. Like if you don't hit Fiddlesticks when you roll for this and you find a really early Velkoz, then you can very easily pivot into Forest Spellweaver Velkoz, which we'll cover later. In terms of the new ABOM items, we want tank items, so like Dragon's Claw, Bramble, Warmogs. And also make sure to put these closer to the grave, so you have like your Fiddlesticks are over on this side. Or if you need like Fiddle on this side, you put like the your other units really close because the grave spawns here. You usually don't want more than 1 damage item at the most for the new ABOM, so in that case, like the Hurricane will be the best item. You can throw that on Callista. Like if you are playing this comp and you find like Callista early game, you can do that to push a win streak. And besides that, there aren't really too many units you can swap out. You can swap out the Gwen and Velkoz, but that's about it. So here's the other way to play Fiddlesticks carry. This is more of an Ironclad Mystic kind of comp. So here it's all about positioning around the Gwen and then still stacking him with the same AP items. This way he's going to be super tanky and his HP is going to be super valuable, so having Gunblade here is really important because he's going to have a ton of magic resistance and armor. You can't really take out any of these units. If you don't have Gwen, you obviously want to spread out a little bit more because here like all these units are getting great value out of the Inamminate and they're all staying around in this the circle here. You can also use Gwen as a secondary carry here, or even Jax if you get some AD items. So the next comp is a juicy one, to say the least. This is an Irelia Recon carry with Sentinels and Skirmishers. So here, Irelia is our main tank. We want to go for 3-star Irelia and Recon. 3-star Irelia is super tanky, and if we throw damage items on her, it's just an insane amount of tankiness. This way we get more procs of the Sentinel shield, which gives our entire team more attack speed. And we also get more AD from the Skirmishers. And with this comp, Recon's ability also helps out a ton because he heals our own team, and if he gets a kill, then he'll heal even more of our team. The core synergies here is obviously 3 Sentinels, and we really like 3 Skirmishers as well. 2 Renewers are very important to make sure that Recon keeps casting. The flexible spot here is the Diana. It can pretty much be any unit, but Diana is super good to stall, and that's essentially what this comp is all about. It's just about stalling to make sure that these Skirmishers get as much AD as possible and as much attack speed from the Sentinel shields. So the next one up is going to be Reroll Tristana. You want to reroll at level 6 with this board. You have Tristana as the main carry. And you go for a 3-star Tristana, and you can also go for a 3-star Thresh, or even Hecarim. You can replace Thresh with Hecarim if you find him 2-star for Cavalier instead of 2 Knights. And from there, you want to put in, you can either put in more Hellions, or you can just put in more Cavaliers, like for example, put in Rel. And then you can maybe put in, for example, Nautilus. Maybe you want to drop this for Hecarim at that point to get another Cavalier in. There's the 2 remaining slots are like super flexible. 2 Forgotten is not really important because this is all about Tristana 3-star. That's the only unit we care about. Misfortune is mainly a Cannoneer synergy bot. And you can also go for Cannoneers by putting in Lucian and Senna as your last 2 Cannoneers to get 4. In terms of which Hellions to drop, we keep Poppy and Kled because Knight and Cavalier are really easy to fit in more of, and they're really good units that we can play. Sigs only gives Spellweavers, so that's not really that good, and Cannon gives Skirmishers, which don't really help out Tristana. And the reason why we don't play like infinite Hellions is because Tristana's ability is just about getting more attack speed, so we don't really need that much more from the Hellions. Also, a lot of these are just 1 cost, so they're not going to be as valuable late game. And we even might want to drop like Kled for Teemo later, for example, once we have reached level 8. In terms of items for Tristana, we want stuff like Deathblade and BT. I would say those are the main two important ones. BT is really important because of Cannoneer and it scales off of raw AD. BT is important to keep her alive, although Hand of Justice can work here. And then Sojin is also really important to make sure that she keeps casting and keeps having high attack speed so she can easily escape if she jumps into a bad corner or anything like that. In terms of other items you can put on Tristana, stuff like IE Last Whisperer is going to be good. Giant Slayer can be good in some situations. Rageblade is not great, but it can replace Sojin, for example. Pretty much any just strictly raw AD items or stuff that scales with AD is good on Tristana. So that was all the new comps, so now let's move on to the old ones and how we need to play them now. So for example, Aphelios got hit really hard. It lost both Morgana and Darius, which we would run in the Aphelios comp before. So now the only core units are Aphelios, Akshan, plus another Nightbringer for 2 Nightbringers. I like playing 4 Nightbringer a lot, just because they're pretty cheap units, and 4 Nightbringer is a good buff to both Aphelios and Diana. And since we are running both Sejuani and Lee Sin, it's very easy to fit in Rel. And then since we're running Rel, it's really easy to run Nautilus, and then our 8th unit might as well be Galio. But know that these 3 units can be pretty much anything you need. So if you need more Mystics or if you need 4 Rangers, these 3 can be taken out for whichever other units you need, or if you need like Viego for backline access. In terms of items, Rageblade, Deathblade, I would say are core items. If you don't have Rageblade, you need to play 4 Rangers, because otherwise it doesn't have enough attack speed. Deathblade, I would say, is the most important item on Aphelios now, just because his spell scales so well with AD, and obviously his auto attack scales well with AD, and with Nightbringer, that gives a percentage damage increase, which scales best off of raw AD. The third item can be either a Sojin to make him cast more, Hodge to heal back up, or if he rolls damage to deal more damage. BT if you need healing in the lobby. Obviously IE can be good because its spell crits with IE, which makes it do insane amounts of damage. Jewel Gauntlet is not the worst after his spell got changed to deal more damage and take a bit longer to get off, but definitely not recommended. And Last Whisper can be good if you are in a situation where you can't roll much gold at level 8 and you're not going to be able to hit Akshan consistently. Because if you don't hit Akshan, this comp is a little bit weaker, although Akshan is a bit inconsistent in the way he shreds AD. So sometimes, like, putting Last Whisper on him is not the worst. Also, just going the old best in slot Aphelios with a Rage Blade, Hurricane, and Deathblade is still going to be good. Alright, so next up is Yasuo. He also got hit really hard because they removed all of the Dragon Slayers. So the new way you play this, it is a lot more flexible. The only thing you need is 4 Nightbringers, so you play Yasuo, Diana, Sejuani, and Lucian. We don't run Vladimir because he's a 1-cost, and we don't run Aphelios because he doesn't really help us. We just need more frontline to protect the Yasuo, and Aphelios doesn't really do that. The only time we play Aphelios is if we get a spatula for 6 Nightbringers. The other 3 units here, they're Galio, Nautilus, and Rel. These 3 units are in general just insanely good to fit in when you're playing Nightbringers, because we get Cavalier with Rel, Ironclad with Nautilus, and then Knight with Galio. But note that these 3 units can be pretty much anything else you need. You could, for example, just straight up go 3 Ironclads and play Jax, or you can even drop like Nautilus to play, for example, Irelia to get like 3 Skirmisher, and now you can almost play like a secondary carry Jax. Know that there's so many different things you can do with this comp now. The only 4 units you absolutely need are going to be these 4. In terms of items on Aphelios, you want RFC, Hurricane, and Hodge. I think these are the best 3. RFC by far makes your positioning late game super easy, although I would say Hurricane gives you way more damage. Getting both of these is going to be incredibly important, but which one of these is more important is a heavily debated topic, but in my opinion, I think RFC is a tad bit more important. The last item is either Hand of Justice or Jewel Gauntlet. I like Hand of Justice a bit more now, but Jewel Gauntlet also works. You don't greed for either of these, you just slam whichever one you can find. And on Diana, stuff like Frozen Heart and Spirit Sojin is super important to make sure that she casts. And I forgot to mention it, but you slow roll for Yasuo 3-star and Lee Sin 3-star with this comp. So next one up is the new way to play Nocturne. Now it is a lot harder to hit for Assassins since you have to hit Diana. And we can't go 6 Assassins naturally, we need a spatula to do so. So our level 7 board is going to be 4 Assassins plus the 2 Revenant units to get 3 Revenants in. And then the last unit can be whichever upgraded frontline unit we hit. Ideally it's Volibear, but it's super hard to hit at level 7. And then you slow roll for Nocturne 3-star, and then once you hit level 8, you put in Viego, you take out Kha'Zix to play any other unit, whether it be like a Gwen for Mystics, or you can toss in pretty much anything that you would need here to complete any of these synergies. In terms of items for Nocturne, you want Rageblade now, since you don't have the Shadow Zeeks. So in my experience, he just attacks way too slow if you don't have any form of attack speed items on him. Hurricane is really important so that he can deal and take down multiple targets at the same time. And Last Whisper is really important so that he can shred through those high armor targets. Also, stuff like Zeeks is super valuable for this comp, so I would definitely recommend slamming more Zeeks, just so you can buff his base attack speed even more. Next one up is going to be Karma. This is your level 7 board once again. They didn't take out any Dawnbringer, so the way you play it is almost the same. And since 6 Dawnbringer has gotten nerfed a little bit since my last Karma guide, then you really want to still drop down to 4 Dawnbringer and then 2 Dawnbringer towards the late game. And so you drop Nidalee and Kha'Zix first, and then you play like Garen, and then once you get Garen, you drop Riven, and then the other 3 units can be whatever you need. So, for example, you can play Syndra Teemo for 4 Invokers, and then you can play like a random Galio for 2 Knights. It's pretty standard level 8 board. Or you could, for example, drop like Syndra Teemo to put in a Volibear, for example, and you can just run a Gwen for that Enaminate trait. There's a ton of different options here. This comp is way more flexible now after they nerfed Dawnbringer, which is a good thing. And in terms of items for Karma, you have either Spirit Sojin or Blue Buff as your mana generating item, and then the last 2 want to be damage items. So either Death Cap, Jewel Gauntlet, Jewel Gauntlet can work. Even Archangels is a good item now, so there's a ton of options there. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Spellweaver Abomination comp with Velkoz carry now. It's essentially the same items as Redeemed. The reason why we don't play 6 Redeemed anymore is because the trait has gotten nerfed super hard. And so you just go Sojin, Jewel Gauntlet, and Gunblade. And then you play the 4 Spellweavers, you play 4 Abomination as well. And then you put in a Volibear as your 8th unit. Also just frontline the worthless units like Callista. You can even frontline Sigs because he won't really do that much damage. And in terms of the ABOM items, yeah, you just want tank items, so like Warmogs, Declaw, Bramble, Titans, and like 1 Hurricane can work. You can also use Fiddlesticks as the secondary carry, but here also using Syra as a secondary carry can also work with like stuff like Sojins and Rageblade to make sure she keeps CCing. And those are all the good comps right now, so all of these will once again be linked down in an Imgur album. But if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and also comment and let me know which one of these new comps you want me to make a guide on, because I'm going to be posting a lot more guides now that set 5.5 is live. And if you want to get better TFT, join the Discord server. We got over 3,000 other players there who are hungry to climb the new set. And if you want to get coaching from me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.